Congratulations! You have landed on the Rock and Roll Flashback podcast with your host, Jumpin John McDermott.
Welcome to another edition of the Songs That Were Covers series on Rock and Roll Flashback podcasts. I'm Jumpin John, and in this episode I will briefly review one song that had the unique distinction of, on two different occasions, reaching the number one position on the U.S. singles charts while being performed by two different non-American bands. That song is entitled Venus. The Netherlands is famous for many things. Over the course of history, the region is famous for their numerous world-renowned painters, such as Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Van Gogh. Due to their low-lying topography, the Netherlands is also known for their flood control efforts through an elaborate series of dikes and windmills. Normally, they are not known for their rock bands. However, that would all change in 1969. That was the year that Shocking Blue released their hit song called Venus. Shocking Blue was a Dutch rock band formed in The Hague, Netherlands in 1967. They were part of the Nederbeat movement in the Netherlands. Guitarist Robbie van Leeuwen teamed up with singer Fred de Wilde, Klaasje van derWijl, and Cor van der Beek. With de Wilde as singer, they had a minor hit in 1968 with Lucy Brown is Back in Town. Later in 1968, de Wilde joined the Dutch army and left the band. Robbie van Leeuwen was introduced to Mariska Veres, who at that time was singing with a club band. Robbie persuaded Mariska to join the band and take over lead vocals. Shocking Blue then had two minor hits, Send Me a Postcard in late 1968 and Long and Lonesome Road in 1969. In Rock and Roll Flashback podcast episode number 137, I mentioned that Mama Cass Elliot developed her singing chops while singing with a New York City folk trio called The Big Three. Besides Cass, that trio included singer-songwriter banjo player Tim Rose and singer-guitarist Jim Hendrix. In 1963, the Big Three recorded a song called The Banjo Song, which Tim Rose had created using lyrics from Stephen Foster's Oh Susanna. Here is the Big Three's version of The Banjo Song. Robbie van Leeuwen was familiar with the Big Three's music and the banjo song in particular. Using similar chord progressions to the banjo song, Van Leeuwen wrote a new song that he called Venus. In 1969, Shocking Blue recorded Venus on a 2-track machine in Soundpush Studio in Blarikum, the Netherlands, with Van Leeuwen producing. The song's lead vocals were performed by Mariska Veras. The lyrics, however, contained a typo in the line, "a goddess on the mountaintop," with goddess written as godness. So Veras, who was at the time not perfectly fluent in English, sang godness on the record and on television. Later recordings by other artists corrected the word. Venus was issued in the Netherlands in July 1969 as a single, backed with Hot Sand on Dureco's Pink Elephant label. The song initially peaked at number 3 on the Dutch Top 40 on July 12, 1969, and remained at that position for a total of 5 weeks. It reached number 1 in Belgium, in France, and in Germany, where it sold over 350,000 copies. Jerry Ross, who was in Europe in the autumn of 1969 looking for European hits for release in the United States, was offered the song. He signed the Shocking Blue to his newly created Colossus Records and chose the record for release in the United States later that year. Venus reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on February 7, 1970, where it stayed for 3 weeks. It was the first song by a Dutch band to reach number 1 in the U.S. On January 28, 1970, it was certified gold by the RIAA for sales in excess of 1 million copies in the United States. Its success in the United States prompted further interest in other markets around the world in 1970, and it reached number 3 again in the Netherlands, as well as number 8 in the UK. The popularity of the song also spurred interests in other Dutch groups. Since then, the single has sold over 5 million copies worldwide. Here is Shocking Blue's version of Venus. After the worldwide success of Venus, Shocking Blue would release several other singles, eventually selling a total of 13.5 million records by 1973. Those later songs were successful in Europe, Latin America, and Asia, but they failed to make the charts in the US or UK. Klaasje van der Waal left the band towards the end of 1971. In 1974, Robbie van Leeuwen quit, and Mariska Veres left later that year, leading to the band's split. Veres went on to pursue a solo career until 1982. The song Venus has been covered dozens of times by many artists, but it was a 1986 cover, released 16 years after Shocking Blues, that would once again reach number 1 in the U.S. Bananarama is a very successful English pop group formed in London, England in 1980. The group, originally a trio, consisted of friends Sarah Dallin, Siobhan Fahey, and Karen Woodward. Bananarama is associated with the MTV-driven Second British Invasion of the U.S. Their eventual success on both pop and dance charts saw them listed in the Guinness World Records for achieving the world's highest number of chart entries by an all-female group. Between 1983 and 1988, they had 11 singles reaching the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. Between 1982 and 2009, Bananarama had 32 singles reach the top 50 of the UK singles chart. The song Venus had been part of Bananarama's repertoire for several years before they actually recorded it. The group had nearly completed recording their third studio album, True Confessions, with producers Stephen Jolly and Tony Swain. The group's 3 members, Sarah, Siobhan, and Karen, had the idea of turning Venus into a dance tune, but they were met with resistance from their producers. So, the group brought the idea to the production trio of Stock, Aitken, Waterman, also known as SAW. SAW also initially resisted, but after persistence by the group, SAW relented. The track was initially produced in an arrangement more faithful to the Shocking Blue original. However, in December 1985, it was reworked at London's Odyssey Studios in high NRG synth pop style. High NRG is a genre of up-tempo disco or electronic dance music that originated during the late 1970s and early 1980s. High NRG is typified by its fast tempo, staccato hi-hat rhythms, reverberated intense vocals, and pulsating octave bass lines. As a music genre, High NRG was particularly influential on the disco scene. Bananarama's reworked version of Venus was released with White Train as a B-side on May 19, 1986. 16 years after Shocking Blue's version hit number 1, Bananarama's version also hit number 1 on the Billboard chart. It also peaked at number 1 in Australia, Finland, New Zealand, South Africa, and Switzerland. Bananarama's Venus reached number 2 in Germany and the top 10 in Austria, Belgium, Canada, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, and the UK. By reaching number 8 in the United Kingdom, Bananarama matched the same peak of Shocking Blue's version. It also topped the U.S. Dance Club Songs chart for 2 weeks. The music video for Venus would receive heavy airplay on MTV in the United States. Here is Bananarama's single cover version of Venus.
This concludes another episode of Rock and Roll Flashback Podcasts with your host, Jumpin John McDermott.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Songs That Were Covers series on Rock and Roll Flashback Podcasts. I'm Jumpin John McDermott, and in this episode I discussed the song Venus, which twice reached the number one position on the U.S. singles chart.
And until next time,
rock on, rock on, rock on, rock on, rock on.